only possible by discipline. It's only possible to free oneself from this deep-rooted, inherent mentality, I do it my way, when one surrenders to somebody else's way. And that's the spiritual master. You know. And that principle, you know, it doesn't actually matter. There is even a spiritual master as Uttama Adhikari, as Madhyama Adhikari, or even a Kanishta Adhikari. But if a devotee follows the principle, he surrenders to superior order, then he will automatically rise above the level of selfish perception. Now, some people interpret it as loss of individual identity or loss of individual personality. You become just a remote-controlled zombie. Not at all like this. Not at all. Though we have Guru, Shastra and Sadhu, the devotee has the right to ask a spiritual master in all conditions. Not in a challenging way, but he has the right to understand what he's doing. Prabhupada demanded that. He pushed over and over again, do you understand what I'm talking? Because he saw himself not as the ultimate master, and that's the function of the spiritual master. He saw himself as a facilitator. Spiritual master enjoys when the disciple grows up. Actually, you could say on a very advanced level, the distinction of spiritual master and disciple is almost vanishing. It becomes almost a friendly relationship. It's like in a school, you know, when the disciple is so interested in a subject. I remember physics. I hated physics and mathematics and all this crap, you know, and I really didn't like that. But there was one guy especially. He was in it. And unavoidable, the teacher, only while he was teaching, his attention went to this guy. And we were all sitting there going, waiting until the show is over. And these two, they were already interacting. Not only that, but when the school was over, they met in the afternoon. And they continued, you know, doing their experiments and, you know, and they were completely, you know, yeah. And of course that poor boy got all the hard time from the schoolmates he could, because they're envious, you know. So they just gave him a hard time, but he had this relation with the teacher. Actually they melded almost in one identity, because there was such a eagerness on that issue, on that subject. So when a disciple grows up, you know, and he is so eager to serve Krishna and find better ways to serve Krishna, and the spiritual master, he even declares him sometimes better as himself. There was such a moment, Prabhupada said that. He said, you are going from one Buddhist devotion marathon to the other. He said, you don't have to pray to go to Vaikuntha, you're already there. And then he said, even, and you have to pray, when you're in Vaikuntha, that I can also come. I mean, you know, this was overpowering. This was just that, Prabhupada is, we have to bring Prabhupada by going back to God. And what is this? You know, this was so obliging. There was such a tie between the spiritual master and disciples. It generated so much energy, you cannot imagine. I don't want to just again turn into something depressing, but we don't see much of this today. We don't see that if disciples are just, how can I serve better? You know, this is like, okay, let's offer the prasadam, there's a picture, you know. We offer it to a spiritual master. Bhoga becomes prasadam, then we eat. Good. Pious. The piety is okay, but it has nothing to do with preaching ecstasy. And this whole process can be activated when we really seriously think which kind of modes of nature we are performing our devotional service. It is visible. Like separatistic devotional service, it's automatically symbolized by fierce competition, envious competition. This is automatically there. So all this talking about uniting and working together and loving each other and woo, this is all solved immediately when you actually try to improve the quality of the service. So then, by trying to understand what is actually pushing me, what is motivating me to act in the way I do, then that becomes revealed to a sincere devotee. If one is sincere, this becomes revealed. Hey, you are still troubled by some idea that you have to become something big, something very important. Where's the followers? Where's the audience? Prabhupada preached him without audience. His purport to Bhagavad Gita was spoken to a wall. His only audience was a tape recorder. Because he was just satisfied to serve his spiritual master. That was the order he got, and that's what he did. With audience or without audience. And he was stubbornly following. He could have died right away there on the ship. And still he would die happily because he was finally executing the order of the spiritual master. Yeah. I just read a letter he writes to a disciple. I am so happy I can be in your association because you heard the message. You got the instruction and you immediately act upon it. I was not like that. It took me 40 years before I got out of Maya and could finally act upon the instruction of spiritual master. Just imagine what a humility. Whereby Prabhupada said there was not one point in my life I forgot Krishna, and there were many points in our lives where we did forget Krishna, certainly. So there we should never forget where we come from. Okay. This is one of the illusions, which is also a symbol of a Kanishta Adhikari. He so easily forgets where he came from. He is 1 year in Krishna consciousness, 2 years he's Brahmin initiated. And he's on the altar, an intimate associate of the Lord. Completely forgetting that this little dots here in this part is still the last impact of the needle when he shot his head on. Big time. Big time. Big time Vaishnava. Don't make any Vaishnava. I'm big time. This demand for respect, demand for position, demand for followers, intoxicated. And even the material nature is pulling him down on his genital, he will still demand that. This is amazing. There's no introspectiveness whatsoever. That's how whole Vedic culture got to it like this. They were standing there on this altars going, big time, give donation. I'm Brahmana, that's the keeper of the gates of Vaikuntha. Surrender, give donation. And instead of the man with donation came a Muslim and cut off his head. Massively. How can this be? How can a pujari be killed right away on the altar while he worships the Lord? How can Krishna allow this? Well, we have something to learn from that. So we should not be intoxicated. Unfortunately, Krishna is not giving us that kind of big stage to act upon, because he's very careful, like a father, he's very careful observing the mood of his son. And even the son comes, my dear father, you are the greatest, you are so wonderful, could you give me 200 kroner? They do sometimes. The father goes, okay, I'll give you 2 kroner and see what you do with that. If you spend it immediately for hashish, no.
You don't get much.
That's it. Krishna is so careful, he gives us 2 kroner, we go, what? No hashish. Okay. So, because he knows you cannot buy any hashish for 2 kroner. That's enough, and let's see what you do with it. So that's how we are tested. Krishna gives gradual, and the more dear we are to Krishna, the more tested we become. So this is wonderful descriptions. Much to study and learn from, because maybe I could just... This actually, this end of this, the last shloka is of Kapiladiv, exactly corresponding to what we just read in the morning. So I can just repeat this shloka describing the devotional service in terms of the different qualities of the executor. Devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent and angry, and who is a separatist, is considered to be in a mode of darkness. The worship of the deities in a temple by a separatist with a motive for material enjoyment, fame and opulence is devotion in a mode of passion. And when a devotee worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offers the result of his activities in order to free himself from the inebrities of fruitive activities, his devotion is in a mode of goodness. And finally, the manifestation of an unadulterated devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing in everyone's heart. Just as the water of the Ganges flows naturally down towards the ocean, such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows towards the Supreme Lord. So that's Prema Bhakti. Completely natural flow, unobstructed, towards Krishna. That's, we have some time to go, yeah. But it's a nice thing to hear about. There's some questions or comments to this.
It's nice is that, I mean, we should not, actually I have one comment first. How was that related? It was Gandhi who was dying on in the arms of women also. You also know what, and we talked about that, this French cardinal that probably talked with.
He died in a brothel house, yeah, that's the Western version.
That just came to mind, but
who is it? Who?
Daniel?
The cardinal.
Cardinal, you know this.
Oh, the cardinal.
This interview. Yeah.
But also this, I mean, so how can we avoid, you know, we can, you know, for example, we want to be self-sufficient, like that. But we can easily fall down to a mundane platform. We have to save the planet, save the climate.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
save the homosexuals, save the virgin.
Yeah, so I mean, so that's not, I mean, the point is, you know, isn't it important to always keep...
This is always what's happening.
Yeah.
Always in all the religious initial sparks of religious idealism, it always goes down, first to the level of altruism, and then down to... Because altruism is just Prabhupada extended selfishness. Instead of I enjoy here, you think we should enjoy here. That's altruism. What's so spiritual about that? It's a congregational theft. Instead of being a private thief, you think we should all facilitate congregational thief.
I guess it's very much depending on the inner understanding of the devotee, because I mean the devotee might also use altruism as a preaching strategy. For example, we have food for life programs, prasadam.
That's controversial.
Yeah,
we know. There's a huge discussion around it.
Yeah. But it's it can be, I say, it can be done purely. You know, it's okay. You give some prasadam.
There's actually food for life is a deviated term. I say it straight on the camera here. Whoever started with that, very Prabhupada said food for life.
ISKCON food relief.
Food relief, food this, food that.
It started with ISKCON food
yes, relief. But he defined as prasadam distribution. Yeah. That's the main thing. Not as feeding the hungry ones. That was Cardinata. What about the hungry? What do you do for the hungry people?
Hungry children.
And then Prabhupada said, well, we feed them, we give them prasadam, what's the problem? Yeah, but, and then they came to the real point, you know, how to feed cows to hungry people. And he goes, yes, when the children are hungry, we have to feed them cows. Very good. You can see Prabhupada on the recording, it's a film footage. Prabhupada's right foot goes like this. He is so angry. Such a demon sitting there, in a garb of a religious leader. Prabhupada's like this. You can watch the film.
Is it the video on YouTube?
Yeah.
Is it the video?
Yeah. There's a recording of that.
I see.
And you can see his face. And he explains, cow is the mother, and you don't kill your mother, and this and that. And the guy goes, the French cynic. French people they are masters of atheistic cynicism. It's all this garbage of this, this avant-garde communism and all this Jean-Paul Sartre, and this is all coming from that corner. That's a French mentality. Big feast, hedonistic feast, champagne and wine, and comes the guillotine. Cutting head. That's in essence French Revolution. And then there's some fool who got this friend, equality and liberality and all this, put the slogans over it. But actually the whole thing was about wine taxes. The farmers marched towards Paris because they felt unjustly taxed for their production of wine. That's actually how it started. And then came Robespierre and all these guys, and they started to preach something to it. But actually originally they were just a bunch of farmers fed up because they had to pay taxes for the wine. Their wine production was hampered.
But like we can, again with the motives, because one can have it might be a good idea, okay, give some prasadam, people there, then we can be there, preach, attract,
That's what Prabhupada immediately connected. He said, if you don't give knowledge, prasadam and knowledge behind. Yeah, he said very clearly, he said, if somebody has an empty stomach, you will not listen. As simple as that. But just going around and feeding poor people, food for life, and then they get a good stomach, lots of muscle, and they start to kill each other. That's it. And we were all instrumental for that. So initially, actually, that's what we do on Vegetarian Saturday and this. There is prasadam and then there is some knowledge. There is some kirtan, there is some chanting, it's one package, the whole thing. Just to get some grant from some demonic government, because they think good, feeding people is good, that's okay. But anyway, getting money from karmis is always a little bit touchy thing. It never really comes for free,
Yeah, we just only call it food for death.
It's just like, this is Brahmana. It cuts through the illusion and goes to the essence right away there. I am, to be honest, I don't want to go longer on it. I am not in detail informed. I have nothing against it, going out, distributing prasadam, that's what we should do. But again, it's the motivation and it's the consciousness behind which makes the difference. So when it's done, this is Krishna's mercy, take it. And there is Harinam, there is chanting, there is all this to it, fine. But if it's just feeding people, who just become even more ruthless gangsters and who knows what, and we are considered as an altruistic social welfare organization, well, that's very misunderstood. That's not the Hare Krishna movement. Yeah?
Yeah, I just have a question because, for years and years in Denmark, we just distributed Kulagov and cookies, without any people. They just got, we distributed 200 bags a day. Just that they got some prasadam initially. And by taking this prasadam, later on they got more inclined to buy a book.
Yeah, but they knew all of them. And you see how conscious they were. Because they were so conscious it comes from devotees. That nowadays in Denmark you say Kuligov and they go, oh, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, but they were not aware. It was just given out as,
okay, it's Agyata Sukriti maybe.
Exactly. Okay. And then when we do this midday meal in Mumbai or wherever devotees do it, is offered prasadam, it is again Agyata Sukriti. As far as I understand.
But Prabhupada wanted more. Prabhupada wanted that people are conscious this is Krishna's prasad.
But that is not the way we distributed Kuligov and cookies here.
Yes, and we also said it's completely okay to go out there whereby really prasadam is the least of the evil. But it didn't took long, we upgraded, isn't it? Just to get some money.
That's the whole point.
That's where the switch point comes.
We just needed money, so we found that was the best thing to sell.
Huh?
That was the thing to sell. We needed money. and therefore we sold prasadam. I mean, that's
there is a virus built in there.
also.
After a while, somebody may say, "Hey, I know a better way to make money. Why just pull a whole struggle here?" And that's how we end up selling all that junk.
But prasadam, Prabhupada wanted prasadam distribution.
Yeah, consciously. They should know it. They should be knowing that.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Because it's
If
preaching.
it is offered on the altar, it is cooked with
That's
love.
right, but you study what Prabhupada meant by prasadam. He took it in a preaching missionary spirit, not in a money collecting spirit.
But it was not meant like that, it was also...
No, it was meant like that, it
But-
was meant. It was
but
meant as a
But
collection.
also, like I said, in one sense, I mean, devotees maintaining a temple, we need money, we go out and sell some, whatever we sell, and prasadam is the least evil.
That's all right, but
And,
we should make sure they don't understand us being an altruistic
Yeah, definitely.
society. That's my point.
Yeah, but that was another point. But
Ah, that's my point. If it's done in a preaching spirit, and they know Hare Krishna, that we do every Sunday, we do it all the time. But how easy is to switch to that?
That was my point, that's why I brought it up.
Red Cross organization. This is my point.
Because my point was not to criticize the activity as such, that can be good or bad, but you know, our understanding and motive behind it,
Right.
that's a whole crucial thing.
We can switch very easily into a point that become the servants of the material desires of the society. Food for Life very much went along with that. Very much.
We think it's our mission.
All the way up, yes, our mission to feed people. Our mission is not to feed people, our mission is to give them prasadam. I think I never saw it kind of difficult point to understand. So what is this? But I saw the effects of that when it flops on the other side. Then we are just another Red Cross worker out there, feeding the hungry children so they can grow up and become a good gangster. Strong, quick gangster.
But this food distribution, it was a good thing.
That's a good thing, yeah. But,
And there is the proof that people become automatically devotees and Krishna conscious when they, via Agyata Sukriti, eat prasadam. Well, let's see the result. Oh, it's next lifetime, they get human form. Yeah, I agree on that. But when they see us more and more as a mundane institution feeding the hungry, then what kind of benefit is from that?
especially if instead of selling prasadam,
Huh?
especially if instead of selling prasadam, we could have sold books to them. You know, then again we say yes, prasadam is a good thing, but
Why not both?
or maybe both. But it's
Why not both? You know that's what Prabhupada did? Was this lady in a bookshop in New York. When devotees came there trying to sell her a set of Bhagavatam, she said, "Oh, yeah, I know this book. I have 3 books here. There was this old Indian man here a few years ago, 2-3 years ago. And he was so nice." And then she completely said he was such a gentleman. And he had the little leather box. And he opened it, there was a little sweet balls inside. And he gave me one to taste. And he was so nice. So she bought a whole set of Bhagavatam. This is a real prasadam situation. You know, it's prasadam, it's knowledge. You know, I think we did this even once upon a time. We had a small prasadam samples to just attract people and then the book came behind. It's also a way to distribute books.
Yogendra is very much into that. Yogendra was always doing like that.
He made this cola, you know, he was a cola producer.
Yeah.
This you know,
Caramel.
Caramel.
Danish
Caramel, yeah,
Danish is
caramel.
caramel, Swedish is cola.
He was making, he called it cola. You know, so this is, and he was always with a little thing and then book behind. Perfect. Anyway, I guess we are not going to. But this mystified prasadam distribution, we are the Red Cross people out here in the war zones. Do you know how many of us got killed out there? I remember Grozny, I remember that thing. People is going in between the lines, where the Kalashnikovs are just this, and then in between, in Prasadam, of course they could kill some of them. What is the loss of getting devotee killed, in the middle of such a mess? So let them kill each other. And then whoever survives gets prasadam. Nice. They will be anyway. That's what Prabhupada told this reporter. What do you do for hungry children in Africa? So they'll all die. Without Krishna consciousness, they'll all die. There's a very dangerous turn when we turn into an altruistic, mundane institution, financed by the very same governments we are actually criticizing. That's a wrong turn. And they will let you hear that. They will say, ha ha ha, shut up, don't preach, you get the money from us, Otherwise, no money. They will blackmail you on that point. But this contradicts also the principle of self-sufficiency. Okay? Joy, Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Just the Sankirtan results. So this week Gauranika did 19 Bhagavatams, 4 Bhagavad Gitas, 4 Bhagavatams and 88 small books. And Kurma Gaura did 2 Bhagavatams, 2 Bhagavad Gitas, 2 Bhagavatams, 2 CCs, 1 Darwin and 27 small books. So total 145 books.
Fantastic.
Joy.
Krishna. Prabhupada, he's dancing. Er der nogen, der har sluttet lampen af?